if we can't finish these last two questions. Who you are is an aspect of divinity, and where you are is heaven, or, if you please, the kingdom of God. There is no place that is outside the kingdom of God, and so that is necessarily where you are. Question 3. Why am I? Why am I where I am? And for that matter, why am I at all? Why am I? That is, why do I exist? Will, I'd appreciate it if you could give me just a little bit more here. Thank you very much. You are in existence. That is, you are. And to answer the second part of the question, you are where you are for the same reason. You are where you are, and you are at all for the same reason. To fulfill the purpose of life itself. Wherever it exists and in whatever form. Life, wherever it exists and in whatever form that it takes, exists for the same purpose. To express through the process and the wonder of physicalization what God knows itself to be. We have knowing, experiencing, and being. The three parts, and in a manner of speaking, the three activities of God. And that which is God, the pure intelligence which is God, knows itself to be the sum total of everything that it is possible to be, and desires to experience itself as that, and so has moved from the realm of the absolute, where everything is absolutely what it is, in fullness, to the realm of the relative, where things exist relative to other things, through the process of dividing the fullness into separate, or I should not use the word separate, I would say into distinct and individuated parts. In fact, divided but not separate, in fact. Any more than your fingers are separate from your hand, though they are divided and different from one another. Now, it gets just a little tricky here when we say that the why of it, or if you please, the reason that you are where you are, right now in physicalization, the reason that you're on the earth is to allow God to experience what it knows of itself And since you've already identified in your answer to the first question that you are that God that seeks to know itself, you are an individuation of that God, we conclude then that you individuated, that is, you became the you now know yourself to be in order to do, to use the vernacular, that work. Or as Christ said, I come to do the work of my Father which is in heaven. It gets a little tricky here, however, in the following way. If the work of your Father which is in heaven, to use standard theological dogma, or if the desire of God, if you please, is to know itself in its own experience, and if that is your intention through the living of your life on earth, you would then have to necessarily know what you know. That is, you would have to know what God is in order to experience it. And here's where it gets a bit dicey. Because God is nothing in particular until you say what God is. See, I don't want you to feel that God is this thing that exists outside of and exterior to yourself, that has certain qualities or aspects of itself that you are trying to be. You are, in fact, at one and the same time, both creating and experiencing divinity. That is, you have free will in the matter of how you wish to express and experience divinity. That is, you're not trying to meet a bar or pass the exam or somehow achieve success in replicating through your life in microcosmic form what the macrocosm has already demonstrated. That would not be a correct reading of the message. Rather, it's much broader and more freedom-giving than that. The freedom here is that God is saying to you, or the larger part of yourself is saying to you, there are no requirements here. It's not like I've added it all up and you got to figure out A, what that is, and then 2, how to get to be that way. Actually, it's much more freedom-giving than that. You can decide what you want God to be and then move into the experiencing and the expression of that. And in fact, you're doing that in every single moment of now. It's just that you don't know it unless you do. See, God is both the creator and the created. And we are in the process of godding. God is in the process of godding. That is, God is in the process of becoming, in every golden moment of now, what God is next going to be. And we don't know what God is next going to be because we haven't decided yet. Until we do.